Thank you very much. Phew. For you guys, that must have been extremely stressful. You built up a great lead, and then it comes down to those extremely tense fights in the end. Who was the voice of reason, and what in the end helped you close the game out?
I'm not really sure what the voice of reason was. We were winning really hard, and then we started throwing really hard. So I don't know. It's been a rough day, but I'm glad we won.
Yeah, all these guys are very glad you won. And you mentioned, of course, it's been a rough day, and it kind of feels like this game was a micro showing of what happened through the rest of the day. A great competitive game versus SKT, and then a passive game versus the Flash Wolves. Why do you think it went so up and down when it was do or die for you guys today?
I'm not really sure what happened today, to be honest. We haven't had enough time to go back and see, but we definitely weren't playing very well. Seems like we just weren't being aggressive when we should, and we were being too aggressive when we shouldn't have. So I don't know, just an off day for us, I guess.
An off day, it's not over yet, of course. Your fate depends on the SKT versus Flash Wolf match. We might have to play a tiebreaker rather after that. All these guys were chanting USA and let's go C9 to help you guys get here at least. Is there anything you can say to reassure them that you guys will advance to the quarterfinals?
Well, thank you for all the support, and yeah, we'll advance. Don't worry about it.
About it, Medio says, so we will see what happens. Congratulations in any case on this victory, and you guys, well, take it away.
Thank you very much, Shocks. I thought I had seen it all, and then that game played out on our stage. But Cloud9, they're keeping their tournament hopes alive here. Every Cloud9 fan in the world is now an SKT fan for the next game. But gentlemen, help me make sense of what I just witnessed.
I mean, you probably need better people than us, because that's close to impossible right now. This game was all over the place. I think if C9 had closed the game in 35 minutes, it would have been great. You know, they really showed up big time when it mattered. Pressure was on them, and they actually closed out the game. Sadly, it wasn't the case. I do have to give them a lot of respect for winning that late game team fight around the Baron, where everything looked to be going wrong.
Speaking of which, let's go ahead and take a look at that fight that kept C9's tournament hopes alive, brought to you by Acer.
Yeah, it's just a crazy start to the fight because it's a good Rumble ulti, but you start seeing members dropping really low, and Sneak is only really able to ulti straight onto the Maokai, and they do actually take down Amazing J. But some of the carries, if you look at Jin Jiao here, he's actually still full HP.
And right here, Rising that pop his ultimate is going to be able to follow through, force Athena to burn his flash, and Sneaky is going to be able to go on the chase with this little crit charge, get that final kill, and that kill is going to be just enough people dead for them to be able to push for the win.
Yeah, and when it gets to this stage of the game, you start getting a little bit nervous because IMA had just done it so many times before in the past. This is a team that, triple inhib down against WE, was able to get that magical flank. It looked like they were going to do it again. However, this time, that little bit of fear, that little bit of hesitation, Jin Jiao, as well as Athena, had access to the backline with summoner spells available and did not take it. And C9 end up winning that protracted team fight.
And here's where I want to now backtrack through the game, because...
Please, no.
I'm going to make you relive this right now. But as we have Champion Select up on the screen here, I have to question, one, IMA's Champion Select, but then two, based on the Champion Select, Cloud9's play with their lead in terms of, as Meteos mentioned, their attempts at throwing the game.
IMA's Champion Select was really bizarre because they gave up winning lanes to play weird late game team fight. But in saying that, that is something that this team has always done. They are very poor early game and they play for late game team fights only. Was it the right call this time around? Definitely not. Did it nearly win them the game, Deficio?
Maybe, but doing the wrong thing over and over doesn't make it right. That's kind of the problem for
Throw
IMA.
perfect play out of the window here in this tournament, so I think that I will actually like what they did. They
You like what they did?
You like the 10K deficit?
Cannon,
and
then the big
time, but they actually had a plan, and they were almost able to do it. But I did think that Jin Jiao played way too scared in the fights. I think that he could have gone much more aggressive, like other AD carries that we've seen throughout the tournament, and actually put in a much closer victory.
At 6 items, IMA should have won that game.
They should never gotten to 6 items in the first place.
I agree to both points.
Great. We all agree now.
We're all in agreement there. But so then let's talk about, because Cloud9 now relies on SKT victory here to go to quarterfinals, or a tiebreaker against Flash Wolves in the scenario that Flash Wolves beat SKT. So then let's talk about that scenario. And for Cloud9, the decision-making in the mid and late game for a few of the players was definitely lackluster. We definitely saw lapses in judgment recognized by Meteos there on the stage, where they were essentially handing the game back.
Yeah, I think a lot of this comes, back from the NALCS, where C9, they became a very dominant team by having much better individual players than some of the other teams, especially the solo laners, and they just kind of overpower them, get a big advantage, and then when you're really far ahead, and especially with strong carries, it's hard to make wrong calls because it's like very easy to say, let's just pick a fight here, or let's just push for this tower and dive it. Problem is right now at Worlds, you play against much better individual players than you're used to, and also the patches have changed quite a bit. It is much harder to close the games if you don't 100% know what you want to do and when to be aggressive and when to be passive. And that is where C9 is struggling right now and why we get these super, super long games.
And I think it really shows in the team fights where you see that lack of synergy between the abilities that are used, particularly with the Alistar combo and the Rumble ultimate. If you watch the likes of RNG with Mara and Looper, as soon as Alistar is in the headbutt, the ultimate's already laid down from Rumble and the carries are dead right away. We did not see that from Cloud9. The layering of abilities just wasn't nearly as crisp as what you need it to be against a composition that's just so powerful in a team fight.
And I think the reason for that is we're seeing the regional clash one more time. If you're that far ahead in North American LCS, teams step away from the turret as you're going through. IMA as a team, as well as the rest of the LPL teams, they step up and they block you. And time again, you saw Meteors, you saw Impact get completely demolished because of that reason. And I think that this is one of those times where C9 is just not experienced against playing against that kind of craziness.
And while there were some lapses in judgment and some attempts at maybe throwing, we have to look at one player to award player of the game. And that's going to go to Sneaky because of the late game team fighting. We saw some good positioning in the last few fights from him. The crucial flash crit shot in order to get one more person off the table and finish off the game.
The thing that impressed me about Sneaky was actually when he knew when to ult and he knew when he had to auto attack. And I think that was clutch in a couple of the late game team fights. He knew when he really had to get out of range and just go down into that. And it did burn through the mount card.
And I really like their movements towards mid lane. I mean, they focus Athena so damn much this game, just always roaming towards middle, using their ultimate, the summoners, the Alistar, just so much pressure onto him. And it even showed because, to be honest, his build was really wacky too. So he must have just been completely thrown off by how much he got camped.
All right, well, Cloud9 will wait on bated breath because when we return, SKT gets another shot to take down the Flash Wolves.
North America's final hope, Cloud9 will battle IMA for either their slot or a chance to fight for it again. Ooh, doesn't work. Sneaky gonna wall in, the Ignite is down. Sneaky, few more autos, and there's first blood. Sneaky and Jensen cutting out Amazing J. Impact trying to keep them out as Rhodes back as well. Sneaky getting low, Amazing J coming in there, but Sneaky does take him out. Flashes out to safety. Rhodes gonna pop it all up, but Meteor's gonna go down. Sinjao takes him down and smooth enough to get out of the base. Jensen got chunked already as well. This might be a little too much, but they're fighting it out. A little too far forward. Athena gonna force some flashes. The Impact goes down as well. The Impact diving in as smooth. He kicks out Road. Great ball there as well into the carries, but Athena finally gets one. Jensen is forced to flash away, but Sneaky is ripping through people. Amazing J's dead as well. Cloud9, they will have a shot. They take down the Nexus.